What's up, guys? Check it out. Look what I got. The very first ever quad row 42-inch light bar prototype. Just kidding. Actually, I got these two stacked on top of one another just to make sure everybody sees. They are both the exact same length, and I'll go over all the other details in a minute. But what we're going to do today is going to be the definitive 4D versus 5D lens comparison video. Now, I made a 4D versus 5D comparison video a while back. And I'll be the first to admit, it wasn't perfect. I didn't have two identical light bars, so I took a 42-inch, covered part of it off to make sure I had two 20-inchers. And, I did the best I could with what I had, and I guess that wasn't good enough for, some of my critics, which, hey, that's fine, no problem. Challenge accepted. We'll do the video again. I got two identical light bars this time, both 42-inch curved light bars. Both use 3-watt Cree LEDs. The only difference, 5D versus 4D. They're both a combination spot beam, flood beam. It's kind of hard to tell on the 4D. I'll give you a closer look in a minute here, but the 4D is a combination spot beam, flood beam. It just uses a convex and a concave style lens to do the difference. You don't see the serrated lenses on that one, but it is a spot beam, flood beam. So is this one. Like I said, everything else is identical. The only other difference, the new 5D, it is from Oxbeam. It has a fancy weather pack connector on the end. Comes with a harness, relay, and switch, and all that good stuff. That comes with the new 5D light bar, but that's not going to affect the lighting. So as far as lighting goes, two identical light bars, the only difference being 4D versus 5D. Alright, let's take a closer look at this thing so you don't have to take my word for it. Let's see here. It's the identical length. Come on down here. Both identical length. Both Oxbeam light bars. The new 5Ds don't have the Oxbeam name on them yet. We talked about that in another video, but it is an Oxbeam light bar, came from Oxbeam. And let's go ahead and take a look at these lenses. Now, I showed you these 5D lenses in another video, but in case you didn't see that, we'll go ahead and take a closer look here. Now, basically how they work in my layman's description here is it looks like they have a 4D lens kind of perched right in the center of a regular reflector cup with these four little tabs. So you both get the spot beam from that 4D plus the flood from that reflector cup. Pretty neat design. I really like it. The flood beam, same thing. You got your 4D fisheye style lens perched in a reflector cup. Only on these they use a serrated style to give you a better flood beam effect. And we'll take a look down here at the 4D. This one's a little harder to see because, like I said, it's a difference between a convex and a concave lens. Well, we'll try and get this camera to focus here. Well, that didn't work at all. Let's try again. Now, you notice how it bends the light here, and you've got just a little tiny looking LED in there. Of course, they're all the same size, but it looks small because of the way it bends the light. Now, we'll come down here to a regular style. That's the spot beam style. And you notice how that LED looks huge in there, just because of the convex versus the concave, spot versus flood. So there you go. That is definitely a spot beam, flood beam combination light. Both identical lengths, both using the Cree LEDs. Let's see if I can focus on that. You can see that Cree LED in there. And these ones a little harder to focus in because of the 4D lenses, but you can kind of see it in there. But that is a Cree LED. So there you go. Both identical length, both 42-inch curved, both Cree 3-watt LEDs. The only thing we're going to be comparing here is 4D versus 5D lenses, so should be a really fair comparison. So I'll go ahead and quit talking about it, and we'll shine these things around in the dark and see what we can come up with. See which one's better. Oh, hey guys, is that you? Kind of hard to see. I got these bright light bars in my eyes. Anyway, it's time to finally test these things out. I've been waiting about a week since I made the first part of the video, trying to get the weather just right. It's starting to look a lot like winter here in Ohio, so it's been raining a lot. It's been really cold. It's been foggy out. And my last video I had some rain, and people complained about the rain. I've made other light bar videos before in the fog, and people complained about the fog. So I've been waiting. Like I said, it's taken me about a week to get the weather just right, so we can go ahead and get no rain, no fog, nice clear skies, so we can finally test these things out, get an accurate test on these two lenses here. And what I've done, you recognize these. This is the wiring harness that comes with the 5D light bar. I had another one of these lying around, so I wired it up to the other light bar. So we can't have anybody saying, you know, different resistances and different harnesses and all that nonsense. Identical wiring harnesses hooked to the same battery. So you see, all right, there's 5D, 4D. Look at that. Well, all right, let's go ahead and take a look at these things up against this tree line back here. Now, this tree line is about 35 yards away. I'll go ahead and fire up the 4D first. There is the 4D. And just like you've heard me say in every one of my videos about the camera, just doesn't show you what I see. But this light bar, this 4D light bar, it lights up pretty much, I don't know, 100-foot wide section of trees back here that I can see quite well. I mean, it's not daylight, but I can see it pretty good. Definitely looks a lot better than it does on the camera. And let's go ahead and check out the 5D. Now you notice right away that 5D, much more powerful spot beam. It's definitely a lot brighter, a lot more intense as far as the spot beam goes. Go back to the 4D, you can see the difference there. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And if you look at the grass, as far as our flood lighting goes, the 4D and the 5D both light up the grass just about the same, actually. So I'd say the flood lighting between the two light bars is pretty much the same, but that spot beam is a lot more focused and a lot more powerful, a lot more intense. So all right, so test number 1 at 35 yards. Definitely got to give it to the 5D light bar. So I'm going to go ahead and back it up to about 65 yards or so, and we'll look at it again. Alright, so here we are back at 65 yards from the tree line, and just to give you something for comparison, these are the 55 watt HIDs on the Tahoe, and I do have projector beam housings in there, brand new housings, nice and clean, so they're pretty good, pretty bright bulbs. And this is just to give you an idea, because I always tell you the camera doesn't show you what I see. And this is what the 55 watt HIDs look like. Pretty bright headlights, look good. And I can actually see the back of that tree line with these headlights, but you can't see them on the camera. But like I said, this is just for comparison. So let's go ahead and fire up the 4D. And you can see it puts a spot on the tree line back there. And, it definitely looks a whole lot better, in real life than it does on the camera. So that 4D, it's still doing a pretty good job, even out to 65 yards. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 5D. But you notice, look at that. Much more brighter, much more focused spot beam. A lot more intense spot. That's a definite result right there. I'm looking at the camera, and I can barely see that spot beam from the 4D on the tree line back there. In real life, I can see it pretty good. Not as good as that, though. I mean, that right there is the 5D, and that looks nice, even at 65 yards. But 4D, it's just barely picking up on the camera. So, wow, that is a definite result right there. There's the 4D and the 5D. And I'll go ahead and run around and shut the headlights off on the Tahoe here, so we're just looking at the light bars so we can get an idea of the floodlight. But all right, just the light bars. 4D first. There she is. You can see it lights up the grass from here all the way to that tree line at 65 yards. So, it gives you a pretty good spot beam, and it definitely gives you a good amount of flood lighting. Lights up from here to there. Good job. Let's go ahead and try the 5D. And same thing with the 5D. As far as flood lighting goes, we got a good solid light from the Tahoe all the way to the tree line at 65 yards away. So as far as flood lighting goes, they are pretty close to the same. And it does look a little different in the camera. You'll notice a little black line closest to the Tahoe. That's just because of the way I have these two light bars overlapped. But as far as the brightness goes and the distance goes, I'd say they're pretty much just about identical in flood lighting. But man, there is definitely a big difference in spot lighting, isn't there? That's cool. Alright, I'll go ahead and get this thing turned around. We'll shine it back up towards the front of the property here. And if you've seen my videos before, I've got a little barn about 100 yards away. We'll go ahead and shine it up there and see what it looks like at 100 yards. Okay, here we are looking up towards the front of the property. Like, keep in mind there's a little red barn about 100 yards up. Let's go ahead and check it out with the 4D. And I went and left my headlights on again, just to give you a point of reference. This is the 55 watt HIDs, pretty bright headlights, just something to compare it to. And we'll go ahead and fire up that 4D. And you can see it just
just barely lights up the barn in the camera. I can see it pretty good in real life, but you know, you can just barely see it in the camera. Let's go ahead and try the 5D. Oh man, that is definitely a result right there. You can just 4D, you can just barely see the roof in the camera. In the 5D, that thing is lit up. And what you don't see in the camera is the tree line in front of my house across the street, which is probably close to 200 yards away, is all lit up with this light bar. And I can see it just as plain as day. And with the 4D, I can actually still see it. It still lights it up with the 4D, just not nearly as bright. But that 5D, it really lights it up and does an awesome job. So that's definitely a result, guys. All right, here we go without the headlights on. Let's go ahead and try the 4D out. Now I can see that barn pretty well, and I can actually see the grass from here to the barn pretty good too. Can't really see it on the camera though. Let's go ahead and try the 5D. It shows up a lot better on the camera, which it shows a lot better in real life too, but there you go. You can see the grass all lit up from here to the barn. Pretty nice green grass there. Actually, it's brown, but it looks great on the video, so that's cool. And 4D, can just barely see that barn. 5D, that barn is all lit up. That's cool, man. I like it. That 5D is impressive. So, all right. I know you guys don't want me explain it one more time about how everything's exactly the same except the lenses, so hey, I won't do that. But anyway, I hope this was a good video, and I hope the trolls approve. And hopefully we learned something about the difference between 4D and 5D. I mean, I definitely did. The first video I did wasn't quite what I wanted it to be, so I kind of wanted to redo it anyway. So, I mean, this definitely shows me exactly what I wanted to see. I mean, that 5D is definitely way more impressive, so that's cool. Next light bar I buy, guess what? It's going to be a 5D. So, thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for the next video. Thanks for watching. See you later.